Good morning. Happy 4th of July. Welcome to Unity of Port St. Lucie Sunday service. And as our treasurer would say, welcome also to the thousands of you out there watching on YouTube. Please stand and join us in our opening song, One Light.
Together, one light inside you and me, one light shines in every person that I see. It's the light that shines inside of me. One light brings us all together. One light inside you and me. One light shines in every person that I see. It's the light that shines inside of me. It's the light that shines inside of me.
I invite you to sit back and relax. Take a deep breath in. Hold it for a few seconds. And as you exhale, we join our hearts and minds together in our prayer for inner peace. Creator of all that is, I open my heart and mind this morning to the presence of God that is within me and in everyone and everything, that one power and one presence. I let God's peace fill my being. In this presence, I am peaceful, poised, confident, and strong. I relax in God's loving care and release all my cares, knowing that God is upholding me and sustaining me in all that I do. God's presence calms me, quiets the storms around me, and leads me to a place of perfect peace. As I center myself in that peaceful presence this morning, I let go of every concern and relax in the safety of God's love and in the love of those around me. I find Unity of Port St. Lucie a sanctuary of love and peace, and I am open and receptive to receive all it has to soothe my mind and soul this day. And so it is. Amen. Please join me as we recite our core values. Unity of Port St. Lucie encourages diversity and embraces harmonious and creative pursuits of truth and knowledge in a safe environment to achieve balance and wholeness in the world. And today is the first Sunday of the month. How many July birthdays are out there?
Oh, Sherry, she's already standing.
I'm standing. I could do a tap dance.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
I know.
How old are... Oh, not that part, sorry.
You never ask a woman that. And there's at least two others, John Hayes and Jenny Figueroa. Jenny's birthday and mine are the same day, so I always remember hers. And now, this is our congregational song, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. We're going to sing together, God Bless America.
God bless America, the land that I love. Send the prairie, to the ocean from God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Estelle Roth is going to read our daily word today.
Okay, the word is freedom. In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. There are many ways to feel free. I may work hard to become financially free. I may plan trips so I can freely explore the world. I may commit to learning for intellectual freedom or exercise my body for greater freedom of movement. Even as I do my work in the world to know freedom, I remember that I am always free at the level of spirit. No situation or circumstance has power over me. Every day and in every area of my life, I live free from divine nature, where I am wholly and completely free. Through my inner powers of understanding and faith, I recognize and embrace empowering my beliefs. My spiritual gifts of strength and release keep me on course and help me free myself from habits that derail my spiritual growth. Through God within, I am grateful to be free. For freedom, Christ has set us free. Galatians 5:1. And will you all repeat the affirmation? In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom.
We welcome today to Unity of Port St. Lucie as our guest, Reverend Catherine Geddes. Welcome. And please join us as we sing Surely the Presence as we prepare for meditation.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy rush around us. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Joining me now in a time of meditation. First of all, being seated on the chair as comfortably as you possibly can right now, setting aside anything that might be in your hands or on your lap. And then just kindly allowing the body to be at peace. Taking a deeper breath in, and as you exhale, allowing the body to relax. And again, taking a deeper breath in, and as you exhale, allowing the body to relax. And then with the body cared for, let's move on to the next step. Taking a deeper breath in, and breathing out, allowing the mind to settle down. And again, taking a deeper breath in and exhaling, allowing the mind to settle down. And then with the body kindly treated and allowed to relax, and the mind allowed to settle down, we can take the next step, which is to allow soul qualities to be experienced. It's now, when the body's relaxed and the mind has settled down, that the soul knows itself as it is. And this is the level of peace. This is the level of the peace Jesus spoke of, a peace that's not dependent on anything happening or not happening in the outer world, a peace that's always there in fullness. And here, at soul level, is where the purest love exists. This is a level of love that has no qualifications, no strings on it. It's just pure love. And it's for you and it's for everybody. And in this love is pure forgiveness. So if there's anything at all that you've been holding against yourself or against another person, this is the level where that can actually dissolve. Allowing that to happen. If there's anything that you've been holding against yourself for however long, right here, right now, in the infinite love that fills the soul, is the time to let that go, to let that heal, right now. And this is the level where we experience no boundaries. The body has a skin boundary. The soul has no boundary. It's at this level then that we experience freedom, boundarylessness. It's at this level where we experience life as immortal. It's at this level where we experience life as immortal. It's at this level that creativity is born. And so here, right now, it's the soul experiencing itself as it is. This is the level that we anchor at. This is the level that we anchor at. This is the level that we live from. Just a moment to be here. moment just to soak, to saturate in the inmost qualities of unbounded peace, infinite life, unconditional love, to have these qualities so clear in our awareness that they prompt the way we look at each other, the way we look at the world, the way we speak to each other, the way we speak to the world. And so we walk through this earth, in it but not of it, anchored in the deepest essence of who we are. I am an unlimited, unbounded, immortal expression of God. I am an unlimited, unbounded, immortal expression of God. I am an unlimited, unbounded, immortal expression of God. Bringing that understanding forward with you then, would you affirm it with me? I am an unlimited, unbounded, immortal expression of God. And so it is. Peace. Amen.
We are one in the bond of love. We are one in the bond
Good morning. Happy 4th of July. Looking around, I see some faces from a long time ago. It's been a long time since I've been a guest minister at Unity Port St. Lucie. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Catherine Geddes Lovekay. I added the Lovekay 7 years ago when I married him. And it's been wonderful. A little bit of introduction. My background training, I was a special ed teacher in Pennsylvania and Missouri for 10 years. I was ordained a Unity minister in 1981 and served Unity churches for 15 years. I changed careers then and became a hospice chaplain and served as a hospice chaplain for 10. And now that I'm retired, I work mainly with meditation groups. So that's what I'm about. My aim as a retired person is to share things that have made a difference in my life, and meditation is one of them. So that's largely what I'm about at this time. And I agreed with Linda to be, Reverend Linda McKessick, to be your guest speaker for today, the 4th of July. So 4th of July, we celebrate Independence Day. We celebrate today the 245th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence back in 1776. That historical foundational document denied power to the King of England to levy restrictions and requirements on these colonies, and affirmed that these colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent. And those words, well, I read the whole Declaration of Independence in preparation for being here today, but those words in particular grabbed me. Are and of right ought to be. And my heart of hearts took those words on a slightly different tangent with the idea that we as spiritual beings are and of right ought to be beings filled with peace and love. We ought to be experiencing peace in our heart of hearts. And I sat with that idea for a little while, and I asked myself, well, when do I feel most challenged about keeping peace in my heart of hearts? And one thing that came to mind really powerfully for me, and I wanted to share it with you today, was a situation in which I had a lot of trouble experiencing peace whenever this particular situation came to mind. And it had to do with my mother. My mother. That's my mother. Her name's Elizabeth, Betty. And she has her lifelong been a force to be reckoned with. She and I say that with the greatest respect and love. Strong lady. She was handicapped her whole life virtually. And it got progressively worse as she got older. But she powered on. My mother was seen at the age of 89, no, it wasn't 89, 83, on her hands and knees on the floor, pushing the base of the vacuum cleaner back and forth. Because even with her walker, she was not able to stand and push the handle of the walker. So there was my mother crawling on the floor, pushing the base of the vacuum cleaner back and forth, because this was her house and she could do this. Strong lady. By 92, age 92, even with her walker, she was no longer able to walk. Her knees kind of gave out, and she became a wheelchair person and lived with my sister. God bless the caregivers in this world. Some of you have been caregivers, haven't you? It's 24/7. If there's any way you can support a caregiver that you know, take them a cup of coffee. Just show up and say, I admire. I don't know half of what you're doing, because you don't. I don't know half of what you're doing, but I know you're doing it, and here. Take them a flower. My sister took care of my mother as a wheelchair person for 6 years, and by 98, my mother could no longer stand to even pivot from her bed to the bedside commode, which was taped to the structure of the bed so that it wouldn't move, and so she could just stand on her feet and pivot onto the commode. But by 98, she could no longer support her weight, and she was so frail that you couldn't even pick her up by her arms under her arms. You know how you lift somebody. You couldn't even do that anymore. And so she wound up in a care facility, a nursing home, and her cognition wasn't as sharp as it had been. And you'd visit her, and sometimes she'd say, "I want to go home." And it's like, oh. And after she passed away at 99 and a half. And she powered through life, and she passed away at 99 and a half. And after her passing, one of the most difficult things for me was every time she came to mind, what would play in my heart is, "Aww," because the end hadn't been the way I would have wanted it to be. And one thing that I found helpful in dealing with that, which is why I'm sharing this on the 4th of July, freedom from something that was a difficulty. The way I've dealt with that, and it has helped me, again, so that's why I'm sharing it today, is to create in my creative imagination, and imagination's one of the 12 powers that y'all celebrate, to create in my imagination what the love in my heart would have that situation have ended like, to make a new ending. Now, I know you can't go back and change the past. It is what it is. It was what it was. However, I can update what I'm playing in my mind to match the love in my heart. We are not stuck in playing same old records and suffering same old pain around and around again. So what I did was I updated the scenario with my mother passing away in the nursing home in that last year of decline. I made a new ending, and basically when I play the new ending for myself, I have her on my lap. She was a frail little person by the time she actually passed on. I have her on my lap, or I'm laying in bed next to her, holding her. And that makes a whole new feeling in my mind heart that says, "Aw," instead of "aw." It makes a whole new association. And I believe we're all in contact all the time. This realm, next realm, it's not about bodies, it's about hearts. I believe we're in contact, and somehow it makes sense to me that she can tune into the upgrade that I've done in my mind. And it's actually now a joy to think of her, and I have her cradled, and it's like, yes, it's the way my heart would have it. So I wanted to put it out there just to share that if there's something that's been difficult for you, virtually any mistake you feel you made, or anything that didn't work out the way you would have liked it to have worked out, you have the power through your creative imagination, one of your spiritual gifts, to upgrade it to your current understanding and your purity of love. I'm retired hospice. With hospice, you know that aside from a very, very rare reversals, the situation is going to continue to decline. I mean, that's the way it is. And so often families have to make decisions before they have all the information. Something happens and you have to make a decision now in terms of care or treatment and sometimes you have to make those decisions before you have all the information. And sometimes you look back and say, well, I wish I had, or I wish I coulda, shoulda, something different. And sometimes there just are no optimal options. And so you make the decision the best you could. And I remember saying to people over and over after the fact, when they were telling me, well, it didn't turn out the way I made this decision thinking this would happen, and that's not what happened. This happened, and now I'm blaming myself. I shoulda. I'm telling people that whatever decision you made with the greatest love was the right decision. Whatever decision you made with the greatest love was the right decision. This is a tangent, but it occurs to me to share one other thing. Some of you knew me when my last name was Geddes. I was married to Don Geddes, and he died suddenly, slowly, or slowly, suddenly. He had been getting, he'd been on a downhill after a heart attack, but on a 7-year downhill. But on the day he actually passed, he'd driven his truck 35 miles to a doctor's appointment. We did not see it coming. And in the evening he said, Kath, I can't breathe. And I said, 911. And he said, no. And a little bit later he said, 911. I said 911. He said, I can't breathe. I said 911. He said, no. And then a third time he said, I can't breathe. I said 911. He said, okay. So we called 911, and I followed in the car behind the ambulance after I went and got his identification and stuff to take with me. And when we got to the hospital, I was met by an emergency room doc who told me that he had passed. So we did not see that coming, and for weeks after that, I was left with, Kath, what'd you ask him for? Why didn't you just call 911? And it's like, and I weighed that back and forth, and I suffered with that one. And slowly it dawned on me, if I were in his position, what would I want? And I would want people to do what I told them to do. If I said no, I would want them to know. If I said yes, I would want them to call. I would have wanted them to do, in effect, what I did. And that's where it really started dawning on me that the decision made with the greatest love, and that decision, no, was made with great love, honoring his right to call for his own body. So that's where it comes from to me to be putting it on the table. Whatever, if you've got anything similar, and probably a lot of us do, something you said, something you didn't say and wished you had, and now it's too late. Something you did, wish you hadn't. Something you had the opportunity to do and didn't do. This is the kind of thing I'm putting on the table now. Whatever you did with the greatest love in your heart was the right thing. And should you come across a situation where you have to make a decision and you don't know what to do, you don't have all the information, keep it in mind, whatever you do with the greatest love in your heart is the right decision. And so, coming back from that little aside, back to my mother, it's such a healing to have upgraded. She was a joy. I put one of the reasons I put the picture up here is maybe as you walk by later, you can see the glint in her eye. That's what I want. That was my mother. Why would I agree to suffering every time she comes to mind when so much of her life was yes, and on we go, and I don't care who messed it up. If you came across it, you fix it. If there's something that hurts for you, every time it comes to mind, upgrade it with your current understanding and the love in your heart. Make a new scenario in your mind. And let that be what you anchor on when the situation comes to mind. Let it heal. Hasn't there been enough suffering already? Hasn't there been enough suffering already? So the encouragement is upgrade it with the deeper picture that you now have. And it's not like you're denying the past. You know what the past, I know what the past was. But you're upgrading it. I'm upgrading it to my current understanding and all the love in my heart. And I believe we're all connected, and I believe that in some way she's aware of that love and joy being communicated now instead of pain. What mother wants their kid to suffer? Yeah, so it's about upgrading. I brought another thing too. This is one of those 5D images. You see a bunch of hearts, but there's another way to look where you see one heart in the middle with hearts on it. It's one of those 5D stereograms. You know what I mean, right? You've seen them. Well, this is one of those, and if you want to play with it later, you can. But I brought this one because all the little hearts are actually on one big heart. And it's God's love shining through each of us that we're sharing among us. And I thought this was a really neat way of showing that. But also with these 5D stereograms, you have to look in a different way. If you look the way you always look, you'll see a bunch of individual hearts. There has to be a shift in the way you look at the picture. Now, some people find their eyes will readily do that, and some people play with it. But there is a shift that has to happen with your eyes in the way you look at this before you can see the higher picture. So I wanted to put it on the table that how you look determines what you see. May we look at each other with soft eyes of care and love and peace. You know the day. You know when somebody's looking at you with hard eyes, right? Oh, they're judging me, they're criticizing, they're comparing me to something. You know when someone's looking at you with hard eyes. May we be aware enough to look at each other with soft eyes. The clerk at Publix who just rang up your groceries, to look at people intentionally with soft eyes of love. How you look determines what you see. People are not objects that are interfacing with us in the course of a day. Everybody is a way that the presence of God is showing up. May we keep that understanding. And may we be able to look currently and to things that happened in the past with eyes of love and upgrade things to match our current understanding I know I just said it, but I'm going to say it one more time. There has been enough suffering. Upgrade the memories to match the love in your heart. I am an unlimited, unbounded, immortal expression of God. That's an affirmation that has distilled itself over time for me. It just kind of plays in the back of my mind. And what we did with the meditation is so important, that we take the time to kindly let the body relax, however you do that, and to kindly let the mind relax, however you do that. You can do it with the breath. You can do it with intention. To let the body and the mind relax, because when the body and the mind relax, the soul just automatically experiences itself as it is. And therein is true peace, true love, creativity, immortality. That's who you really are. That's who you really are. And so, on the 4th of July, I declare us all free. Amen. Namaste.
Spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountains, majesty above thy fruited frame. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy hood with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I want to see you again. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountains, majesty above thy fruited plain. America, sweet America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Mine eyes have seen a glory of the kind of the Lord. Don't you know he's trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored? He hath loosed his faithful lightning on his tables. His truth is marching this sweet land, sweet land of liberty. For thee, I want to sing. Land where our fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. For every mountain side, let freedom ring. Let me sing this song. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, forever waves of grace, for purple mountains, majesty above thy fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. God bless America.
Thank you, Reverend Catherine. I think you wrote that message just for me, but I'm sure everybody else appreciated it also. And thank you, Jeff and Linda, for that beautiful holiday rendition. Now's the time in the service when we take out our tithes and our offerings. We hold them in our hands, bless them with our energy, and we say together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I love to give. And the offering plates in honor of COVID-19 are still in the back. Our prayer chaplain today is Marvia Reed. She's right over there. You can see her right by the conference door if you'd like to share affirmative prayer with her. Okay. Reverend Linda gave me authority to make an executive decision on this one. She may never do it again. But I think we're just not going to worry about Bible study tomorrow night, because I look and sometimes we're in the cone and sometimes we're not, and let's just not worry about it. And we'll meet next Monday. It may be the last decision I ever make about Bible study. Spiritual discussion is also not meeting this Tuesday because John Hayes is out of town, but it'll meet again on the 20th, I think it is. Lana will have chair yoga at 10 on Wednesday. Still can't get that, I want to say the other day. Prayer circle will be Thursday at 11. Next week, Reverend Linda will be back. Mr. Shepherd, do you have an announcement?
Oh, finally. Yes, there will be choir rehearsal on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. All are welcome. All you have to do is walk through the door, and we'll do the rest.
And there won't be choir rehearsal on Thursday, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who sets up and tears down and helps with the service. Especially our videographer, Mr. Paul Shepard, since I picked on him last week. I'm just going to say thank you this week. And now please stand and join us in our final song, the Peace Song.